Everybody knows my car.
Okay.
Just mad that mine was faster.
Yeah.
Alright, hey guys, this is Shannon Hubbard, Razor Edge Productions. I'm here with the Doughtys. How are you guys today? Mr. Brandon Douty, the number 21 Super Stock. And Trey Douty, number 3 Super Stock.
Good.
We have a father-son duo right here. So, let me talk to you first, sir, if you wouldn't mind. When did you start racing?
Would have been 13 years. 13 years full.
You were 13 years old.
31 years ago.
Okay, that's
And I've raced on and off through then. Mostly, we raced for the most part, and when we opened our own business, we took a few years off to make sure it took off and then got back in.
Hey, what class did you start in?
4-cylinder class back in the day.
Yeah?
Get Road Warriors down in the bay.
Did you always stick with that same number of number 3s?
No, my original number was 77.3.
77.3.
Everybody knows me as Trey, but my real name's Dale, and I'm the 3rd.
Okay.
And Dad was 77, Jeff was 77 Jr., which is my brother. And then I was 77.3 with a little Roman numeral 3, just like my name. And then when me and Jeff got to running places together, I went to 773 because they wouldn't take suffixes.
Oh, okay.
And then when we got back, after we took a break off, we got back in it. I was tired of the 3-digit number. And at the time I had 3 kids, and I'm the 3rd. I got my nickname Trey, being 3. So we just went with 3, and that's what's stuck, and will be the number until we end.
Okay. Well, Brandon, when did you start getting into racing? I know, you're what, 4th generation, I would say. It was your grandpa, and then you got your uncle and your dad and you, correct?
So I don't think we did race for grandpa, did we?
I'm not sure.
I was 17 whenever I started.
Yeah.
I originally was just going to the races and helping out, stuff like that. And then one year for the mechanics race, I asked him if I could race his car. And whenever I raced that mechanics race, ever since then, I wanted to actually race myself. So, but yeah, I was 17 whenever I started racing.
Did you start in the class, in the Super Stock class?
I started in pure stock. I had a Camaro, green Camaro. Started pure stock the first year, and then I went to street stock the next year because he got a new car and passed me down his. And so then I raced street stock for 2 years, and then last year I raced modified.
Okay.
Going back to street stock next year.
Well, the street stock's where it's at. Okay, so I'm going to keep going back and forth, so I hope people kind of bear with me a little bit here. And I'm hoping that everybody can hear everybody okay. I haven't seen anything, so I think we're in the clear. I think we're good. It's the only way we can do a mic test. So, okay, your dad, your brother raced.
Yep.
Now, Jeff, just so everybody knows, Jeff Douty is your brother.
Yep.
Is he your older brother?
7 years older.
7 years, okay. So, when Jeff started racing, you were pretty little, huh?
I think Jeff started, if I'm correct, was right around 91.
Okay.
And that put me around 11 years old. And through then I helped, back then he ran street stock, pure stock back then a little bit. Then they had what they called their super stocks in, were almost like a lemon blade. And we helped with it, and then he went street stock, and that's where he was at. And when I started, he also had a 4-cylinder.
Okay.
And we got to race together for about 3 years there before classes started changing.
Well, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool to be able to race with your brother. I bet there was...
And now I get to race with him again since he come back to super stock
Oh,
again
that's
last year.
right.
We'll all 3 be in the same class together now.
Well, that would be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And I know you guys are super competitive, so this is going to be interesting to watch as well.
On the track, they're just another driver. I mean,
Oh,
don't get me wrong. Anything gets tore up, you're going to bump, it's going to happen. Anything gets tore up, we're there to help each other out first.
Yep.
But when it's on the track, I mean, I hate to say it, but if he's next to me, I'm not going to run in there and run over him. But I'm not also going to I'm not also going to let off to give him anything either. He wouldn't do it for me. I wouldn't expect it for him. Same with him. We've been door to door, fender to fender many times. And I'm not, just because he's my son, I'm not going to lift off the throttle and give it to him. But I'm also, I'm not going to go in there as hard as I probably would with somebody else just to make sure. Him on the other hand.
That's what I was about to say. what was it, both opening seasons of my street stock.
His first year in street stock, the very first night out, 2 brand new cars. We drew their heat race. I drew outside pole, he drew inside pole. They dropped the green flag, we went down into turn 1, and he went in way too hard on his first night ever. And he took my car, his car, plumb off the track.
Right off turn 1.
Following year, I started inside pole, he started outside pole, very first night, 2 brand new cars. We went in the corner, he overtried, spun it out, took the entire passenger side off my car.
So,
this year I'm not starting next to him.
He tested your patience a little bit there now. This will be good.
For the most part, we raced together. We got to race together for about 2 years, and we only had one night. You know, Dad had to get into him a little bit, just let him know to use your head. You know, I mean, but that's the thing. I mean, for no more than he was in it in a street stock, he got fast. I mean, he got fast quick. He had pretty good stuff to do it. He didn't have the best stuff out there, but for not being in there no longer than he was, and for what he had, he was a front runner anywhere we wanted to go.
I've got to watch you guys both. I got to see you at the Screaming Lehman this last year, which
that was a rough night. We were fast. I mean, and don't get me wrong, that night was a rough night, but it wasn't a bad night.
Right.
I mean, we got the car tore up, but we had a lot of people that night step up, kick in, help, and they got me back out for the B feature. We started tailback bits, still come up to make the A, still raced every lap to the A and finished the A. I mean, I can't be upset with that. I had a lot of help.
At one point in time, I'm pretty sure there was like 14 people at your car helping. Like somebody was doing something.
That's the way the racing community is, I've noticed.
Oh, yeah. It's
just one huge family. That if something happens, everybody's there to help.
Everybody's going to have their quarrels here and there. Everybody's not going to like somebody or something like that. You get over it. I mean, that's the thing is, you're going to have certain people, you're like, well, when it comes down to it, that person's still going to lend you apart, or you're still going to lend them apart to get them out there. You know, I mean, it don't matter if they're faster than you. You ain't going to get no faster if they're sitting on the sidelines.
So I got to ask you, what was it like the first time you ever got in a car?
I was young. You know,
was
back
there
then,
that certain feeling?
it was a 4-cylinder. I mean, you got nerves, stuff like that, but being that young and still immature, it's no different than a game. You know, I mean, you get in it, you're not thinking anything of it until you realize, wait, everything I do out here has a real life repercussion. And then you got to learn real quick, either I got to screw my head on straight, or I better learn how to fight really, really well, because I'm going to get my butt whooped quite a bit. But I mean, I had a lot of help too, because with Big Brother being in it, you know, it was real quick and real easy to go, hey, you need to do this. You need to make sure you're not doing this. And it helped out a lot.
Yeah, when did you switch classes from 4-cylinder to something else?
Oh, what was that? That had been, I ran 4-cylinders for about 4 years. And then we got a pure stock, we ran 8 with pure stock. And that's kind of what, after I went to pure stock, we ran it for a little while. And then I went to, back then it was just modified. It was just modified. You know, we didn't have B mod, A mod, it was just, and that picture there, that was my first modified. That was Adrian. And that was our parade lap holding flags. But I got his old DW7. He went to DW9 that year, and that's my first year modified. And I ran 2 years, three years in the A mod. And it was fun, it was a blast, it was expensive. Back then, you know, I didn't have the best job or nothing like that. And, you know, all of our parts come from down back, and we made it. And the best thing is, I mean, we still don't have the best stuff. We know how to get by with what we got, and we know just what we're doing.
Absolutely, and that's something else that, you know, I've talked to people, many people, about racing parts, you know, how it can be expensive. Yep. And this is another thing too. You're the owner of G3, which is
G3 Racing Supplies.
Yep.
This year we held off on building any bodies for anybody, just for the sole purpose we're moving to our new shop we're at now. We were in town, now we're right across the street from the racetrack, the Butler racetrack. We had a chance to build a brand new shop, house, everything. And that was my focus, getting that done. And hopefully, you know, we're still selling parts through D3. It's just making it more of a challenge. The good thing is when we get all done, set up, we'll have a way bigger parts shop. We'll have the trailer at the track for Butler this year. The good thing is if we don't have the trailer, we'll have it right next door where we can come get it.
Okay, so just for folks that don't know, now you do. There's a location for race parts.
And we carry race parts. We'll carry aluminum. We'll carry body panels, fuel. I mean, about anything.
Oh, you'll have fuel as well?
Yep, we have motor, I mean, we carry any gaskets, belts, pulleys, pumps, you name it. If it's on a race car, we most likely got it.
Okay.
If you don't have it on hand, you can order it, and it'll be there shortly.
Let's talk about this. Excuse me, just a second.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and talk to you real quick, Brandon. So you went to Midwest Lawn last year.
Yeah.
What made you go to Midwest Lawn?
Well, the year before that, I rolled my street stock, and I was basically just pushed with the decision of either put money into the street stock and build it back up, or this would be the chance of, if I'm basically starting over from nothing, try whatever I want to try. So I got a really good deal from Brady Skaggs. He had his car for sale, and he priced it to me really fair. And so I just went ahead and got it and tried it out for a year. It's different. Did you make it? Did you make it?
Yeah, sorry about that.
It was different. Definitely a different driving style, different setup, handling everything. Just
We'll go from a big fender car to a modified.
full body car to a modified car. It just reacts completely different. It wasn't necessarily my cup of tea that year, but I'm sure if I had more general knowledge.
He started picking up more at the end of the year of what he was doing wrong and what he needed to be doing, but he already knew the big body car, he kind of knew it, so.
Yeah.
That, and we never got rid of it. Like I told him, I said, until you go a full year, we'll keep the street stock, it's there. It is not hurting nothing being there. So.
Something good to fall back on just in case.
Yeah.
And it was just in case, and here you go, we're back to street stock. Which, you know, I have a story too, I gotta tell. And this is for people that didn't see it. There was something that was extreme that happened here across the street in you and your super stock. I believe it was 2020.
2 years ago.
Yep, 2022.
Yep.
I got to witness that, and so did a bunch of people, and it was a pretty scary moment, but it was also a triumph type of situation. You want to tell people about that a little bit?
We went out in hot laps, and my car was hooked up really nice. I mean, this setup was pretty well just there, so it was fast. And I went out in the heat. I didn't change anything, and I went out in the heat race, and I started tailback. And the first 3 laps, I went from tailback to third. Coming into 1 and 2 on I think the 4th or 5th lap, I don't know if I turned it too far or something in the right front locked up, and it started pushing me way up towards the wall. Well, I was trying to correct it, and I had it turned way farther left than I really thought I did. And whenever it finally broke free and grabbed and stuck, it turned me down into Devon. And I clipped Devon's quarter panel, and it spun me around to the driver's side going about 3/4 speed. And it caught the wheels, and I just barrel rolled it down the back stretch above it.
What happened after that, though?
Well, I finished out on my top, and he put in about the fastest half lap time you can at that track, getting around to me because I was racing against him in that heat race.
I come down the front stretch, they threw the red flag, and I had Knight Schwarner in front of me. And I'm like, I know I got Devin, Brandon, and I forget whoever else was with us that night.
Scott Johnson.
And I looked up, seen the red, just went to let off the throttle, looked over, and he was still finished rolling. And I smashed her down. We got the back stretch pretty quick.
Yes,
But
sir.
he got out of his car without taking his helmet off, or no, you had your helmet off. You didn't take your steering wheel off. Still not sure how that happened. But he got out of his car and was over to me, and pretty well, I'm pretty sure you could have stood the car up on its side by yourself.
We got him flipped back over his wheels as soon as it hit it and died. All the fuel did.
The entire engine bay was engulfed in flames.
When the net was stuck, we removed it, and his Uncle Jeff was there, and me was at his window. And as soon as it ignited, he got air launched out of the car.
He had a hold of my left shoulder, my Uncle Jeff had a hold of my right shoulder, and I got removed out of the car without taking any of my lap belts off or my steering wheel. I was being removed from the car very quickly.
And is this the same night that you went topless that night with the car?
He got in from the wreck. I finished the race, and they hit me in the face with fire extinguisher. I couldn't breathe. I pulled in, and I was foaming from the fire extinguisher. But we got in, we sent a helper to my shop to get the record, picked up all new trailer arms, everything, and we busted our tail between the heat race and the feature, and we literally had the saws off, all the trailing arms off, because they're folded up bad enough I couldn't even get the bolts. And we replaced all the trailing arms, had to hook a caliper up to the bar because there was no rotor to hook it to. Didn't have a left rear shock on it. Didn't have no body on it, no roof on it. But I told him, I said, if this thing was starting to run, you're going to pull out there. And show him, he ain't scared that you went upside down. And he went out there and made all but like 2 laps.
Well, I intentionally, there was only 5 cars left. And they were teching the top 5 because it was added money for street stock that night. And I was in 5th because I was still out there. So me knowing that if I went to tech, I would have got DQ'd, I just pulled into the infield as soon as I saw the white flag. So I could still get paid and, you know, points and scored for that night. But yeah, I raced the entire feature with, and the tail shaft of that transmission was no longer on it. And how the drive shaft stayed in and it continued to move was beyond me. But finished the race. Finished the race.
I watched that roll. That was pretty gnarly.
It was rough.
So when you went back and you guys came back to full force, I felt like that was.
I actually got to pull out right next to him. He started pole that night, and he actually waited, let everybody else go, and then pulled out right next to me as we pulled out on the track.
Together.
Yeah.
That's pretty great. That's pretty great.
I've got that picture on my phone if you need it.
Well, I mean, post it up and let show people. I mean, I'm sure that they would love it. So I have a couple set questions I want to ask, and I ask everybody these kind of questions. What tracks have you guys been to?
I've raced that.
Yes. Yes.
I've only raced at Butler and Nevada.
Been to Butler, Nevada, Adrian back in the day when it was open, Pleasanton, Kansas when it was open, North Fork, Warrensburg, and Wheaton.
Thank you.
Okay.
Nope.
You
I've
never
never
raced
raced Batesville. I went to Jeff, helped Jeff racing your Batesville.
Okay. So which track would you say that you were like, okay, I want to go back to that one. That one was really cool. I really want to go back to that one.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. You've always said that.
No, it's your track.
Oh, my track? Honestly, probably Nevada.
What track would you want to venture to? You said you've only been to 2.
Yeah, I've only been to 2.
So what track would kind of pique your interest to go, hey, I want to try that track out?
I wish
Yes.
I could race Nevada, or not Nevada, Adrian.
Well, yeah.
I've heard so many things
Yeah.
about it, and I
Well,
wish I
right
could
now
have
it's a
raced it.
field, unfortunately, but
I wish I could have raced
yes.
it whenever it was open, but one track that I would like to go to and race at some point in time would be Wheatland.
Wheatland. Well, you know they have a big buck 50 coming, so and you're going to be a superstar.
I'm going to do my damnedest to be there.
Okay. So 2024, you guys both going to go?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think that's going to be one hell of a show. There's a lot of people that.
Everything goes right, we both should be there in April.
Okay. I'll have to be watching for it.
I'm going to
So-
get a sticker made for you on the back of the car.
You can speak up just a little bit. I don't know if you heard.
Oh, I said I'm going to make a sticker for the back of my car for you to look at whenever I pass you.
You got to lap slow traffic every once in a while.
Oh, yeah? Is that what it is?
So what's your most memorable race, Trey? What's the one race that you're like, you know what, every time you think about it in the past, that's the one you always have the fondest memories about?
Most memorable race probably wasn't, but just a few years ago. I mean, to believe it or not, because like I said, Dad raced, then Jeff raced. I got to race Jeff, everything like that. The first year, Jerry Brown opened Butler Speedway. They had street stocks. Well, Jeff had a street stock at the time he was driving first person. And I actually, for the first time, took 40 years to do it. I got to line up next to my father and race against him. Yep. You know, I've raced against Jeff many times. I've raced against Brandon, but I've never raced against my dad. You know, back in the day after Dad quit, I was racing. Dad's back was bad. Jeff offered him the car for the night. He felt fine enough to do it, so he actually raced Jeff's street stock that night. And I actually got to line up. We actually started door to door with each other in the heat race. And that was one of the coolest things for me.
Oh, heck yeah. What about you, Brandon? What's one race that always sticks in your mind?
I mean, of course, the night that I won, I had one feature win, and just one so far, but it was the championship night of my first year in street stock, second year ever in a car. I had to get like 8th place or better to take second place in points, and I ended up winning that night and put me in the second place below him. But that was one I'll always remember. My favorite night is probably the night where I ended up getting second place. And it was where it was literally back and forth every lap. There was a new second place position because I was racing door to door with him the entire night. It was lap 1, I led him. Lap 3, he led me. Lap 5, I took it back. Lap 6, he took it back. It was just back and forth the entire night. And I ended up beating him by like maybe a fender coming to the checker.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
It was a good night.
It wasn't much.
It was a fun race. We never touched the whole race. I mean, we ran numbers to numbers. There was not one lap that you weren't beside the car. You know, you might have been back or forth, but there was never where either one of us was clear.
You guys were side by side
The entire race, start to finish. I started third, he started second. Yeah, he started outside pole, I started second row inside. And they dropped the green, and I think it was Devin that night. He took off. He just took off, and he was gone. There was no way either one of us were going to catch him. So my competition was him.
So you guys went on your own show?
Oh, it was a hell of a show.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. So besides the family members, besides your father, or your uncle, or your grandpa, who inspires you when it comes to dirt track racing? Who is your guy? Who's that one person that if you were to watch him today, you'd say, you know what, that's my dude. That's the guy I root for.
For me, it's Douty Timmerman. Douty Timmerman and Doug Shute. Douty Timmerman was always the number 6 late model. David Turner was another. You know, I had my favorites, and Douty Timmerman and David Turner were in late models. They were my ultimate favorite. Still this day, I'd cheer for them today. And then when it comes to modified, it was Doug Shute from the 36 Budweiser car.
That's great.
Those were my heroes when I was a kid. But that wasn't related to family.
What about you, Brandon?
I really don't know, if I'm being honest.
You don't know?
I mean, 90% of the time I was usually helping. Like if I was at the races, I was helping in the pits or helping in some way.
You don't watch racing
so
on
I didn't
TV,
really, I've never really watched much of anything on TV whenever it came to racing. I usually just went to the races that weekend and helped everybody out. And the biggest people I cheer for was usually Jeff in modified, and then him in street stock or pure stock or whatever.
Okay. But, hey, that's awesome though. I mean, you gotta have that support system. I really do. In order to do something in this sport, you have to have that support system. So that's just as important. I gotta ask, green on your car. Okay, I know you and I have previously talked because I was going to have you sit down on the podcast that I have on Spotify, and we talked about this a little bit in superstitions and so on and so forth. A lot of people have the superstition of the color green.
Yes, green, checkered flag, can't eat chicken on race day, everything like that. The reason my car is green, I originally didn't know what colors to go with, what pattern, number, anything like that. And Jeff used to run a green car years ago. And he told me that if I painted my car green, he'd buy me a helmet, sponsor me a helmet. I needed a helmet, so I said, okay. And at the same day, Russell Gillis was there, and he told me that he had John Deere green and John Deere yellow that we could mix to make a bright green. And he'd give me the paint to paint the car just to paint it, because he didn't need it anymore. So we painted it, and I'm pretty sure you put it on with a roller, paint roller.
Yeah, the Camaro, we painted that with a paint roller. We got it all mixed up, added a little bit of hardener and thinner in it. We rolled it on with a paint roller. And the bad thing is, you know, last year we seen the car, it still has the original paint on it. It's still green.
He said he peeled all the stickers off, and it didn't peel off a single flake of the paint. It's still green, still same paint he laid on. He did it while I was at work one day. I didn't partake in doing that, but he surprised me with it. But yeah, the green superstition, I mean, I don't know. You can go either way with it. I've rolled it, but I've also won my very first year in street stock, and I had a decent year for my very first year ever in a car in pure stock. I still had like 2 top 5 finishes, and I didn't finish the most races for, you know, breakdowns and stuff like that, but the ones that I did finish weren't that bad. But I don't necessarily believe in all of it, considering the fact that I'm pretty sure I had a McChicken for lunch the day that I won my feature. So I ate chicken and my car's green, so I'm not going to have 2 of them that day.
Oh, just an FYI, Norma Davis is on here. She said that you need to speak up. She can't hear you.
Well, she's old and she's not here.
Sorry, Norma.
That comes with age. Oh, sorry.
What about you? Do you have any superstitions?
I don't. I mean, that's my thing. Is everybody's like green or the checker or the chicken. It don't matter. I mean, I've had every color on a car. I've had checkered flags on a car. I've had them on my helmet. We've ate chicken. I can go out there. I can eat a steak. I can make sure my car's pitch black. I can do everything they say not, to do. And I can still go out there and step on my own and loop it all by myself or hit the wall or, it's just, it is what it is. I mean, everybody's got to believe stuff like that, but it's just.
You say step on your own. I don't know how many times I did that the second years. I led the race. From start to finish, he led a race and spun out coming to the checkered flag and turned 4. Yep. I had my heat race and I won my heat race by a mile. Like my car was fast. It was hooked up, it was taken off, and I won my heat race by probably 5-6 car lengths. And start pole the feature and take off, and I'm leading the race for 3/4 of it. And then Chris Kircher caught up to me, and he raced door to door with me for the last couple of laps, and I guess I just got nervous. I don't know if I got nervous or hyped up or something, but I went right into turn 4. Nobody touched me. I just went right into turn 4 and looped her on my own. Coming to the checkers. And I had the jump.
We've all done it. I did it. The year I won the championship, his rookie year, we went out there very first night out and had the race won. 7 laps into the race, we were 6-7 cars in front of everybody. Threw it in the corner, just threw it in there hard enough to kill the whole car. And I sat there until I got hit. I mean, it was my own fault. I had nobody to blame. It is what it is. It happens. It's part of racing. You're going to try too hard, or you're going to worry about something, or just miss your mark, or.
There's things you look back and laugh about now.
Then it ain't no good to get mad.
Absolutely.
I have a question. What's one of your favorite moments? Like not like all night or like the whole race, like something you did in a car that was like your favorite, like, okay, that was really cool, or like that's something that I'll definitely remember. It could be just one lap in a race, just a moment that you did.
Air launching it and turn away.
The one off the
car he started in street stock. We come down there, I was trying to pass for the lead, and Kircher was in front of me. We got right towards the corner, and he dubbed off real quick, and there was a lap car sitting there dead in the water. And I missed him and kept it going, and I was hoping to clear the tire, and if I would have, I'd been fast enough to pass Kircher, and instead we hit the tire, and when we hit the second tire, we literally went 6 foot up in the air, and we air launched it, never let off the throttle. You could hear it off the rail chip all the way to the grandstand, never lifted, but when it landed, it broke the transmission. It knocked it out of gear and broke the shifters.
That is not the only time you've went airborne.
No, we've been airborne a few times, just never been upside down, knocked on the wood.
I can't say the same.
So you Dukes of Hazzard a couple times.
Oh, we've had a few instances.
Okay.
I haven't necessarily Dukes of Hazzard it. I just more so, I full on went for it and rolled it. Mine's probably got to be whenever I passed Scott Johnson in the heat race for my first heat race win. You had just raced before me, and you were sitting in no, you weren't. Not on my heat race win.
No, I was sitting in tech.
You were sitting in tech because I think you got protested or something, so they checked in the heat race, so you didn't get to watch my race. But the entire race, I was running second. I think I started like 4th or 5th, and I got up to second right behind Scott Johnson. And the way that he had his car set up is it would hike up really high. Like his left front, I kid you not, was probably 4 to 5 foot off the ground. And the entire race, I could catch up to him, and I had enough momentum to pass him in the corner. But the way that he set his car up, he was really wide, and I couldn't do it clean, so I wouldn't do it. And it came to the turn 4, coming to the checkered, and I did something that I'd been thinking about doing, but didn't have the balls to do until right then, knowing it was the race, first or second. He threw it in, and he hiked it up, and I drove underneath his left front tire. I heard his tire bark on my decking on my right side, because my whole nose cleared him, and his tire barked on my, barked the tire on the decking, and I went right underneath him and passed him and won the race by like 5 feet, maybe.
Wow. Okay, that's crazy. I've never heard anything like that before.
It was just wheelied up so high. And it was the only opening that I had to try and win the heat race. So.
Was you white knuckle?
Yeah.
Okay, well, see, there's another thing I ask people, and Kenny does too. What advice would you guys give to younger generation of these people coming into racing? Now, I know you're still fairly new, but you still got a little advice that I know that you have there for them. What advice would you give them, Trey? Like these guys that are thinking about it, girls that are thinking about getting into racing.
Listen and patience. You know, two of the biggest things in a race car you can do. You know, granted, we've got fast, we've got pretty good here lately. I mean, we're far from the best, but I've gotten way better in the last few years. And it's nothing but listening and patience. You know, being patient when it's time to, being patient when you need to be, you know, saves the car, lets you there at the end. Listening. You know, my brothers taught me probably more than anybody in the world when it comes to racing. And I've never seen him turn any information down to anybody. You know, if it's the information that means that kid's going to go out there and beat him that night, he's still going to give me the information. You know, and this year we've had information from Muskrat, Michael Muskrat, Teddy Welshmeyer, you know, my brother, you know, and others that, you know, and that's the thing is, it never hurts to listen. You know, try something. See how it does. If not, listen. You know, and that's the thing is, listen to the people that, you know, there's a reason that, you know, Jeff, Aaron Poe, Muskrat, Nice One, there's a reason they're on the front. Chris Kircher. You know, you might like the guy, you might not. It don't matter. If you don't like him, still go talk to him. You know, because sooner or later, if you're going to race against him, you're going to have to talk to him. You know, and it might be a, hey, good job, you outran me, or hey, they'll come to you and say, hey, good job, you outran me. And that's the thing is, I mean, you'll learn more by listening, being active, but just listening and be patient. Because there's too many that's still out there that just, their patience overrule and stuff gets twerked real bad. But yeah, like I said, you know, if I could tell them anything is patience and listen. All they're going to do is teach you something. I get taught stuff still to this day. You know, I have a problem, I run into something I can't figure out, first person I call, Jeff. Hey, what am I doing wrong? What do I need to do here? You know, and listen.
How about you, Brandon?
I don't really have, but I mean, that's pretty well what I was going to say. Just listen to what everybody says. 9 times out of 10, they're not going to tell you something intentionally to make you worse. Like, they're trying to help you. Everybody likes to see younger people getting into it. Like, my first year in pure stock, I don't know how many people would just come up and just randomly start talking to me. People I've never met before, saying like, oh, I saw you did this, you can try this instead, you know, and that it might help you out. He's like, if you don't like it, don't do it. He said, but if it works, then you'd be a little bit faster, and then you can go from there and try something else. And biggest people I mean, he's taught me more than anything I know, or more than anybody on stuff that I know, and Jeff too. But like he said, everybody will just come up and talk to you. You have to talk to everybody at least once. The night that I won, I had people that I'd never met before, and a couple of people in my class that I had never even talked to walk up and just be like, hey, good job, you know, da-da-da. Oh, you did this. What do you got in your car? Like, if you did this, you might win more races, because I noticed since the track was like this, your car hooked up well on dry slick. But if it was tacky, if you changed this, then you'd be fast every night. Like, you know, or faster every night. Like, and just listen, patience.
And another thing to add to that, for the younger generation, sponsors.
Yes.
I mean, and that's the thing, is with sponsors though, it's not just go out and get all the sponsors you can. You know, in the racing community, there's unspoken rules. You know, when, you know, I've got a lot of sponsors on the car. I've had 2 people hit me up this year and ask me about putting their name on the car. This year, my car, we just redid it at the end of the season. I've got all the same sponsors I had last year. I'm not redoing my car. Like I told him, help him. You know, that's fine. I've got a couple sponsors on my car that are the same as his. I've got a couple the same as Jeff. Jeff's got a couple the same as mine, you know. But the thing is, you know, when you're out looking for a sponsor, if they sponsor somebody, you know, and they say no, walk on. Don't run it for the community. Because in 2 years, that person might be done. That sponsor will be available. You know, when you find a sponsor, take care of your sponsors. I mean, and I'm not saying you got to go out of your way to do stuff for them, but just what a lot of people don't understand is if that name's on your car and you go out there and you win, you represented that car. You represented that number. You represented all the sponsors. That looks good on your sponsors. When you go out there and you act like a jackass, or you're sitting there doing something stupid, that's also, you're representing the sponsors. You know, you kind of got to remember that, you know, take care of them, you know, be respectful for them. You know, if they tell you no, and it don't matter if they sponsor a car or not. If they don't sponsor a car, and they say, hey, I'd love to, but I don't have it, say, okay, thank you. Because a sponsor is somebody, you know, you're not going to make a dime or a dollar off a sponsor. You know, I've sponsored, with D3 Racing Supplies, I think we've got 7 sponsors coming out this year. I probably won't make a dime off any of them cars. You know, off them spawn. You know, someone's seen it going, oh, I need to get my parts there. You know, I will off the drivers because that's where they're coming to get their stuff. But that's the thing is, all the sponsors online, I've got a, you know, 5-week seed for, you know, sponsor. One of my biggest sponsors. He sells seed. I guarantee you there's never been a farmer in the grandstand like, ooh, I need to go buy my seed from him because he's on a race car. That's the thing is, he's giving me his hard-earned money to let me do something that I enjoy to do as a hobby. So you gotta respect and be respectful back to them. You know, that's what helps us out. There's a lot of people out there that don't have a lot of sponsors. There's some that have a lot. You know, it helps sponsors help. But if you burn them, it can kill a whole neighborhood.
That was really good advice.
I've seen it happen too many times where, you know, and that's my thing, you know, there's sponsors that I could probably go get tomorrow that's on other people's cars because I know them. I do work for them, stuff like that. But I will never go to step my foot over the line. You know, I might mention something to them and say, hey, you know, you can sponsor my car too. Oh, well, should I sponsor your car instead? Whoa, no. If you want to sponsor my car, or if they'll come up, you know, I won't say nothing. If they come up to me and say, hey, what's it take to get on your car? Well, you're looking X amount of dollars, but aren't you sponsoring him? Yeah, but I think I'm not dropping him. Well, until that screen cleared, I'm done. You know, I'd love to have you on my car, but come see me next year after you've not been on his car for a year. Because I'm not going to be accused of stealing somebody's sponsor. It ain't worth it to me. You know, I'm sorry, but a $500, $250 sponsor ain't worth losing a friendship or gaining an enemy over. Not in a race car.
Absolutely.
It is not worth it.
Absolutely. Completely agree. I call that race car creep. That's what I call that.
You know, it's
look out for each other.
It's
all
general respect.
Yes. Yes, sir. So, who all do you guys have to think about your racing? Trey, who helped you along?
Oh, I've got. Like I said, I've got a lot of sponsors, and one of the biggest ones I have to thank is Jason Heiser. You know, Jason Heiser is my 5H seed sponsor, him and his whole family. Ashley, Tandy, Tori, Jackson. And they're one of the reasons my racing career has went from where it was to where it is. You know, I'm on a totally different caliber of cars than I ever have been or ever dreamed of. And they have been a big inspiration and a huge help on that. You know, then I've got HP Electric. You know, he actually was in here today putting electric in our new shop. He's been with me since we come back to racing. He's never missed a year. Brad Stevens, Principal Financial. I've got Countywide Disposal, Lee McLean. I got Brant Wellston, does On-the-Go Johns, all the porta potties usually at the racetrack, my butler. But he's the only place to get one. I mean, he's cheap and they're clean. That's nice.
He does keep them clean, I will say that.
Very, very clean. And then we got Comfort Creations. She makes cups, shirts, all sorts of stuff. This year we had all our sponsors ornaments made. It has a picture of my car on it for a Christmas ornament. My wife got all that made, or got them made for all our sponsors. She makes all sorts of stuff. Stephanie Compton, she does a rock star job. And Compton Trucking, which is her husband Rusty. He's on board with us. I'm forgetting to. Punky's Favorite is a new one we got on this year. It's a big one. They're based out of Athens City, Missouri. It's a salad dressing. It's Punky's Favorite salad dressing. They have original raspberry and a Asian ginger one. They are delicious. We actually sell them in our shop. We actually sell them for them. They get them at Yosa's too, but it is some. Like the other night, I made. They're at my shop.
Okay.
But I made stir fry the other day with the Asian one to try it out, and it was delicious. Who else did I forget? I gotta look at my car. Holy cow. U5 Farms. I'll just say Miles, and we'll leave it at that, because that's a reason. And I think I got everybody else, didn't I? Who? That's Brad. I got that one, and then Joe Cummings. H3 Graphics. He built the sign back here. He has literally gave me the prettiest car I could ever dream of. I mean, every year he goes beyond and beyond to build us a nice car. You know, I went to Billy. Joe bought Billy out. Like anybody else, you don't know the cat from 5 minutes after talking to him. We hit it off. We got along great. He's a great friend, but I mean,
it's really good.
My car, you've seen my car.
Yes.
The orange and the silver, and it's gorgeous.
Joe does an amazing job.
He goes beyond to help us out. He's taken care of us since day one. I recommend anybody who needs a car wrapped or sign made, go see Joe. You can't beat him. In my eyes. I mean, everybody's got a different opinion. The poor kid had a rough year last year. He was trying to make everybody happy. A new business owner. That's all that is. We all are guilty of it. If you've ever owned a business, you ever try to run a business, you're guilty of it. You get a schedule and you're like, okay, I can do this much in one day, and that's what I'm going to schedule. Well, you do. And then you get scheduled up. And then Joe Blow comes by. Then your buddy comes by. Well, I need this and I need this. Well, I don't want to turn it down because you're scared of losing work. You're scared of not making it. And he overbooked himself a little bit last year, but I'll tell you what, for being overbooked and everything he did, and we helped run and get a couple things for him here and there, he's still rock star now. I mean, he still did everything he could do to make everybody happy. Nothing I told him, sooner or later, you're going to have to break somebody's heart.
I mean, he filled every promise that he made to everybody last year. Even though he was booked 10-1, he got to everybody.
Outstanding cars. Brandon's this year, his modified, it was gorgeous.
I'm not going to show or say what it is with the car this year. It's going to be, it's going to be
his
nice.
New car, his new design, Joe's already got design for him. It's slick. It'll be pretty.
And you're sticking with the same color scheme with yours?
Mine, like I said, at the Lehman, we got our big wreck. When we got back, we had to rebuild the whole car. It took us 2 weeks. We rebuilt the whole car. We put a brand new body on it. Had brand new wrap put on it. Switched some stuff around. And we only got priced at 2 nights.
Oh,
The 2 night special over here at Butler. We got 1 quarter panel tore up a little bit. We're going to redo the quarter panel and that's it, because otherwise it's all brand new body. And like I said, being the same sponsors, everything like that, it was only out one weekend. We're going to roll with it this year. So it'll be the same pretty car it was last year. His will not be. His will be cool. We'll get to see it, hopefully, if everything goes right, 1st of March. If not, a little.
Okay, so I do got to ask you, Brandon, is it green? It's green. So we're sticking with green.
It says green.
There's green.
It's
There's
green.
in it. We'll say that.
All I'm going to say is it's going to shine.
Yeah, it'll shine.
Okay.
That's all I'm going to say.
Okay. Well, is there anybody that you would like to thank for helping you through your racing thus far?
Just everybody that's helped out. I mean, I've had Main Street Menagerie for, 2 years, 3 years now?
Yep.
They've been a really big help. They're hoping to step up bigger this year. Glad to have them there. Who did I have last year? I had 5HC with him. He helped out with me too. I really appreciated that. I had Big Country Tile on it.
Brian.
Yep, I had Brian Bedwell Trucking. What's wrong?
Stacy said tell him, 1 second,
Oh, don't listen to anything she's got to say.
She's great.
She's a.
U5.
She said
He said
U5.
U5.
Okay, well.
Tell her to sit there and be quiet.
U5 and then 4. So, I got it.
Yeah.
Tell her to sit there and be quiet.
U5 was mentioned.
Okay.
I had Brian Bedwell Trucking. He was a big sponsor last year. I had Kip Yo's Champs Chicken. He's been on my car for the last 2-3 years.
All that chicken for those, Fridays and
All
Saturdays.
Yep. I say I had that superstition. I have a chicken on my car.
There you go.
And then
And a green car. So
Brent
that's
Hasty.
kind of,
Brent Hasty with the Adrian Lane's Black Rock Alley. He was a
Okay.
good sponsor. He was on my sale panel.
Okay.
Yep. Bob Cates. He's just something about Bob real quick. He's just a genuinely good person. I mean, all around good guy. He'd do anything for you. He'd get the shirt off his back. He was a helping hand with anything we needed the last year. Like, if he wouldn't have gave me $1, I'd put him on my car. Like, he was just that much of a help. He was just a
We
great
got blessed in a lot of ways, I think. You know, this last year, last 2 years especially, you know, we got blessed with people in the pits to help.
Yes.
You know, between Cameron, his buddy Cameron, and Dylan
Yes.
coming in, helping with, you know, with us trying to race and run the parts store, we'd close it while we raced. And we got people come watch it, and Rusty and Stephanie coming in and helping us out all the time. Dallas Harmon come, you know, the night of the Lehman. You know, we got tore up. This kid comes from his own race car, leaves, you know, works on my car, literally almost missed his race because he was more worried about putting my radiator in than getting out of the zone. You know, the same way, you know, that night we had Jeff, we had Brian Bedwell, we had Josh Harris, all of them there. And that's the thing is, I mean, just the general help you have. You know, that and people in the stands. To me, that's one of the biggest things. You know, I mean, I go down, when you make your parade lap, you wave. You know, you always look for your little girl or your little boy in the stands. It's just what you do. But you're also seeing other people you know there. You know, for me, you know, I go down, I see my kids, then I see my mom and my dad sitting there. You know, I see Dorothy sitting there, Tyler Leeman's grandma. You know, she's always up the fence waving her flags for us.
Lauren Appleberry has made
and
every
that's
race.
the thing is, I mean, you get your fans that follow you, and some you know. And I mean, I walk up in the stands and I see kids that come up to me all the time and like, "You're our favorite." I'm like, "That's awesome." You know, and it's like everybody's like, "Man, we need to hurry up." You know, give me a minute, because if I can't talk to these kids for a minute, it ain't worth it.
I signed 4 shirts last year of people that I don't know. Never met them before.
That's fantastic.
I walked up into the stands and I had 2 of them walk up to me at the same time. One was a little kid, one was a little girl, another one was a little bit older, the boy, he looked like he was about 13. And they both had on my 21 shirts, and they asked me to sign them, so I signed them. And then I had 3 different ones throughout the season at Beta the year before in my street stock, and one of them was just a regular racing shirt, one of them was a Nevada Speedway shirt, and then the third one was my 21 shirt as well. They all wanted me to sign their shirts. People I've never met, the feeling that you get from that alone is
That's
just
right.
awesome.
I'm ready to see what the season brings. I mean, this last year, 2 years, between me and him both in street stock, Jeff being back in street stock now, to me that's fun. Because I remember, you know, you asked me earlier about fondest memories. We went to Batesville, Arkansas every year. 10,000 win street stock spectacular. You know, the smallest year we went, there was 208 cars. The smallest car amount. It's nothing but street stocks. No filler classes, nothing else other than street stocks.
That's a lot of cars.
We went down there, but for us, you know, we get down there Tuesday. We're there from Tuesday to Sunday. So we camped, we worked on the car, we practiced, he'd hot lap, he'd race. But that's for us, you know, to me, I get my brother back in my class. You know, granted, he might go out there and kick my butt every race this week, or this year. I might whip his, we don't know. But the fact that I get to go race with him, and no matter what track we want to go to, we're all in the same class. So, you know, like last year with him and Modified in the street stock, if he went to Springfield, I either go watch him or I go somewhere else. You know, or this year, wherever we go, we all get to go as a group.
Right.
You know,
Speaking of 2024, okay, you guys are going to the Big Buck 50. Is there any other tracks that you're going to other than here locally, right across the street, or in the Beta?
I'll race Butler, I'll race Nevada, we sponsor Nevada on the street stock class. Butler and Nevada will be the biggest two. I'm going to run Lucas every time they got an opening this year. I know they have us April, was it 16th or whatever, second weekend of April. They have us, we'll be there for it.
April 11th, 12th, 13th.
Warrensburg, I'll see. You know, Warrensburg puts on some good money races for street stock, but it's just, I'm stuck. You know, I raced there, we raced there, it's been 4 or 5 years ago. About 4 years ago, because this was just born. And it was an interesting night, to say the least. We started mid-pack bar heat race, got up to second, was running against Dingo, in a car we had no business being up front with. I mean, it was a car he started out with, we had a little cheap 377 in it, but the car was hooked up that night. It was hooked up to the track. I didn't have the horsepower they had, but there wasn't a track to get a hold of, so my horsepower was on the ground. And we run second, come to the white flag, they threw the caution, and at the caution, they told me that my transponder wasn't working, which is their problem, and they told me I had a choice to either go tailback or leave.
Oh.
So I had to start tailback with the green, white checkered finish. So we went in the pits, I got an argument with the owner, was trying to argue with him. At that time I hear red flag, knowing my brother's on the track. I look over, buddy of mine, I'm going to guarantee it's Jeff. I look over and he's upside down on the wall. So mine went from arguing there to worrying about him. We got him in, got his car fixed, and I had to start tailback 24 cars that night. And it was a one-lane track on the bottom. And I was determined, we got back up to 7. I mean, nothing to frown about. But I just kind of told myself I'd never go back. Because when I asked the owner about it, he told me if I didn't like it, just never come back. And I hadn't since. And it sucks. And he was probably having a bad day. I don't know. I don't know the guy personally. I talked to him for 2 minutes. And I wasn't a nice guy probably when I talked to him. I was pissed,
Right.
You get running second, one of the better races at a track you've never been at.
The emotions get high.
Oh yeah, it's part of racing. But the track itself, I love the track. It was fun to race. God, it was fun to race. It's fast. It's a cool track. But this year, I mean, we'll probably travel. I think we're going to talk about going over Triple X Speedway. Jason Heiser, he was from over that way for a while, and he remembers watching races there and asked me if I'd be interested in going. We'll go. You want to go? We'll go. It ain't no big deal. I'd like to hit a few more tracks. Jeff talks about maybe hitting some money races here and there. And
one place that I would like to go to, if it can fit into the schedule, is if they hold it again, I would like to race Batesville.
Well, Batesville's fun, but Batesville's unforgiving.
I'm fine with it.
Luckily, the only year I didn't go down to Batesville is the year Jeff hit hard. They were actually in practice, and they had him on the clock, on the speed thing, and he backed at the wall in practice at 102 mile an hour. He destroyed the car. They put it back together enough to get to the race that week. They had come-alongs and chains and everything. I mean, it's one thing about our crowd, we never give up. We've never wrecked a car and went, no, we're done. Just like that night the night in Orangeburg with Jeff. We welded the spindle nut back onto the wheel and stay on. He went out there and started tailback of the B feature, made it to an A main starting position, and the wheel come off. They went under caution, they made him get off the track. Otherwise, he was in the A feature on a rolled over race car.
So there's no quits.
No.
There's no quits at all.
Nope.
Well, that's fantastic. All the same. Batesville, though, Brandon, you ever go to Batesville? I would like to hear your story about Batesville. Is there a way for people to kind of keep track of what racing is and the progress? And
Douty Motorsports page. On Facebook, we have a page, Douty Motorsports.
Okay.
And we usually, the wife will list on there about every week where we're going, what nights we're racing, who's going, and then she'll go live for each race we have too.
Okay, so people can watch.
Yep.
Yeah, so if they're...
She's a little biased to the 3 car. If we're on the same feature, just a heads up.
And she usually mutes it now.
Yes, that's correct.
Because
Okay.
she's a little crazy up in the stand. She gets a little loud.
Okay, sorry, Stacy.
I'm not. She gets a little loud. But that's the thing is, I mean, between my wife, I've listened to people, get pissed off and cuss and scream her.
They said so. This Matthew fella here, Oliver, said something about Callaway Speedway.
Yes, Triple X Speedway.
Yes. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
But like I said, I've heard people, cuss and holler my wife from screaming and hollering in the stands. My sister-in-law, Jennifer, anybody knows her, people's been mad at her. But that's the thing is, I mean, as much as emotions get high for us, what do they do to the wives? The family members, the parents, brothers, siblings, anything.
I can speak from example.
You know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
When stuff's going good, everybody looks at you, look like you're retarded because you're screaming and hollering and hooping like,
Your
what is
loved
going
one's
on?
out there on that track.
Well, this thing is because, and my thing is, on my end of it, we get to the racetrack, my wife has no problem checking air pressure, setting up tear-offs, doing this, doing that. I mean, she don't just sit back and watch. And that's about any of our group. I know Jennifer's the same way with Jeff, she don't just sit there the whole time. She gets, she'll help on the car and get stuff done. My wife, I honestly wouldn't want to go racing without her. Because like I said, when we get there, she is a true rock star when we get to the track. She helps get both of our fire suits out, helmets out. Like I said, checking air pressure, checking lug nuts. If we got to add lead or something, she'll put it on. Keeping the car clean, getting it on the battery charger. When it's hot out, getting a fan in front of it. But before the races, she's already packed food or lunch or dinner, whatever we're going to have for that night. And that's the thing is, I mean, a lot of people don't understand when they're up in the stands hooping and hollering, it's because they're a bigger part of it than a lot of people think.
Yeah.
Ask Michael Muskrat. They leave Oklahoma, drive 3 hours from home to come up here and race this area. We loaned our shop to Michael Muskrat and Teddy Walshmeyer when Butler had their 2-day show. You know, they need to change some stuff, fix some stuff, especially Michael Muskrat, because I ran him over. I got spun out and I collected him with me, and it was my fault. And I told him, I said, hey, I know they're staying at the hotel. It was cool. I told them, you guys are more than welcome to my shop. You know, there's plenty of room. They brought their cars up all day, worked on their cars. All I had to do was look like body work to mine scale line. You know, they come in, they worked on their cars, appreciative, super nice people. Michael Muskrat and Teddy Wellsmart, their whole entire families were in my shop. You know, their mom, you know, Michael Muskrat's mom was in the car working on stuff. Dad, everything. You know, his boy. Teddy Wellsmart, his whole family was working on their car. Nobody was just sitting there doing nothing. Everybody was doing something. You know, at the end of the day, they got their cars done, pulled out. I got to pull mine in and do a few things. I turn around, they're all standing there, both their families. Like I said, we're not done until you're done. You help us out, we're here to help you out. And that's what, you know, a lot of them understand it. It makes a big difference.
Yes, yes it does. And then this is another reason why I started a Spotify podcast for, you know, the women, wives, the girlfriends, the significant others, is because there is a whole other criteria of things people don't see.
Right.
So like you say, when you have that spouse up in the stands yelling and acting all crazy and everything, well, it's because there's more to that. There is that hard work that was put in there. Also, being a racing wife, you're there when your husband is down and out over a race. Or, you know, say he's sore because he flipped.
You still got to ride home.
You know, yeah. So there's all there's all those kinds of things that are into play.
A lot of things that they don't think of either is, you know, we don't always come home for dinner. We're working on the car.
All the time.
You know, we don't always sit home and watch TV. We're working on the car.
That's all it is.
It's stuff like that. I mean, the good thing is, most good race car drivers don't let it interfere with their family.
Right.
But it's all their free time. You know, I mean, that's just, you know, that's what it is. It's all your free time. You know, I'm not going to miss a school function over it. That race car said. You know, I watched my brother, you know, running for points, take a night off because there's a family function. You know, it was go racing or be there with his kids. You know, granted, he made it later that night, but he made his kids first. And some of them get that a little mixed up every once in a while, but they figure it out eventually.
Right. Well, fellas, I sure appreciate you sitting here and talking with me for a little bit.
Appreciate you talking to us.
Oh, no problem, no problem. I'm kind of looking forward to seeing you guys this year. I want to see how you guys are going to do at Lucas. Pretty interested. Mr. Brandon back in the super stock. I mean, I've seen you excel in that class a little bit there, so I'm kind of curious on seeing how you're going to be out there with your uncle and your dad this year, not just your dad. So there'll be 3 generations right there all at once.
It's going to be interesting.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It'll be fun.
Yes, sir.
It'll be fun.
I can only
I have no doubt through the whole season, somebody's going to get mad at somebody.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know.
And it's probably either going to be me or Jeff getting mad at him, but it's just, somebody's going to get mad at
Or
somebody.
Brandon.
What if I go to get mad at you guys, huh?
Yeah, like I said, we appreciate it, and like I said, it takes a community.
Yes, sir.
It takes, I mean, every car out there has got their own village, no matter how small, how big. You know, some people's got a lot bigger sponsor, got a lot bigger money, don't matter. You know, last time I checked, every single person that goes in there pays the same entry fee to get in. They're all there to do the same thing. Have fun and try to win a race.
Absolutely.
You know, everybody spends thousands and thousands of dollars for a $5 trophy.
Yep. Yep, that is
But
true.
it's that whole privilege of getting to stand there.
Right. And hear that crowd cheer when you win it as well. I mean, that's
watch
a
crowd
plus.
cheer, see mom and dad's face, everything.
Yep.
Something on that, hearing the crowd cheer and stuff like that. You said something one time about a race, and I experienced the same thing whenever I won my first race.
My very first race, I won. When I come in, we were racing the Baylor. I was in Black Betty, that car there. And we had a decent little motor. We were quick. We ran second and third every night that whole year. And towards the end of the year, we just couldn't catch Sean. And we got out there, and lap 4 of the race, we went into 3 and 4. Sean went in and pushed up towards the wall and stopped. Broke the ball. And I'm like, this is ours to lose. We're sitting #1 spot now, and there ain't nobody going to be able to beat us all year. Let's do this. And I won my first race. When I come for the checker, I can literally hear the crowd. But that's the thing, is after that, like they always say, your first one's your hardest. You know, we won one more that year, and then we upgraded to a new car, got a new motor. Finished second the next year in points, and then the next year we won points and had 7 feature wins in 1 year.
Heck yeah.
I mean, it's.
No, on what he said.
Due to a lot of help.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of help from Big Brother with setups, a lot of help from Dad, you know, parts, you know, sponsors, family, everybody willing. You win a championship, you look at their family, because they've been drugged through it too. You know, when you get down second and you're worried about points and you had a bad night, like you said, everybody's had a bad night.
Exactly.
On what he said about the crowd cheer, the night, championship night, my first year in street stock, I was coming around 3 and 4 to come to the checkered, and I really shouldn't have, but I did. But I looked up at the flag stand to see them holding the checkered, and I look over into the stands as I'm passing the checkered, and I'm pretty sure every single person in there was on their feet cheering. And I could hear them cheering over my car and my helmet and everything like that. And I'm pretty sure just the sound of hearing that and the feeling from that alone was enough.
One of the best things about that night, I broke. So I was sitting in the infield, and I'm like, we'll tell you how. I'm like, no. I sit there and I got to watch him win his first race from the infield. I was at the first, when he come into the checkered flag.
I think we were there that night.
I was there.
You guys.
We were in the pits, and you came, and you were just hooping and hollering because we were in I think 2 pits down from you.
I think you were across.
He raced his butt off for it.
I think you were straight across.
Okay.
Because we were in the south pit at the time. In the middle section, we rented all them spots.
Okay, yeah.
We were straight across the road. And as soon as I pulled in, I'm pretty sure I just about blew it up from stomping on the throttle and neutral.
Yep, sure did. Sure did. I remember
Hopefully I
that.
didn't forget anybody.
Yeah, I don't think I did.
Okay, well, I think we're going to put a big pilot. I sure appreciate everything.
Yep, no problem.
I want to remind people, if they would.
Hi, Mom.
I want to remind people, if they would, invite your friends. I want to keep this going.
Okay.
Kitty and I, we strive to keep this going. I think there's a lot of stories, a lot of things that need to be told, and people need to be able to hear.
You need to get a lot of your street stock guys on there. We put on a good race. I mean,
Yes.
And that's the thing is, last few years, to run door to door Kircher, dead hunt.
That was one fellow,
Nice
Mr. Kircher was one fellow that I really wish I could have got a hold of in this off season, but I'm hoping to catch him during the race season.
You can't catch him, let me know, I'll get a hold of it for you.
Okay.
I'll make him get on.
Okay.
But
Well,
that's the thing.
I nominate Chris Kircher.
In our class, though, there's not very many nights top 10 ain't winnable at any time.
Right.
right.
It's for
It's
anybody.
fun.
Even the person sitting in 16th, I mean, in 4 laps, he's running third. Like, it was super competitive.